Our group is the Little Rascals, and we did our typical development assignment from a character from The Incredibles. We had the age group 13 to 16-year-olds. So here's a little clip just to show you the plot of the Incredibles movie. Fast forward.
This thing about being a superhero? Trying to live a normal life. Whether it's pumping up. Dinner with the family.
Stop running in the house. Hey, no force field. You sit down. You sit down. Let go of your brother.
Or seeing old friends.
Hey, Lucius.
Hey, Speedo.
You are one distracted guy.
So they're a superhero family, and Mr. Incredible ends up resuming his life as a superhero and needs his whole family eventually to go and save him. So Violet Parr is the character that we looked at. She's a 15-year-old girl, and she's a typical teenager despite having superpowers. She is depicted in the movie as intelligent, yet she has a gloomy, shy, and socially withdrawn character.
By the age of 15, children's motor skills have already become smoother and more coordinated. They also have the ability to master complex, intricate, and rapid movements needed to produce fine quality work. The most noted motor development is the rapid rate of growth during this time. In the movie, Violet displays these characteristics. One example is when she uses a large tree branch to hit a villain. This shows good hand-eye coordination, strength, and rapid movements. As for cognition, teens have begun to use formal operations to solve problems during this period of growth. Piaget's formal operations stage has significantly influenced development for psychologists. This stage allows for abstract thinking, the use of analogies and metaphors, and the use of hypothetical reasoning. Violet shows this abstract thinking through her inquisitive nature about herself, her powers, and the world around her. One example of this is when her family was trapped by the supervillain and they appeared helpless. Violet was able to determine how to use her force fields to bypass the electrical fields and escape with relative ease.
In terms of adaptation and self-help, coping strategies are expanding during adolescence. Due to increased cognitive flexibility, adaptive responses are expanding. Skinner and Zimmer-Gembeck identified 12 families of coping strategies. Support-seeking, problem-solving, and distraction are those used most by adolescents. The use of problem-solving increases with age. When a teen sees a situation as particularly challenging or uncontrollable, they are more likely to seek out help from an adult as they age, so this could be seen as support-seeking. For example, Violet recognized that she needed help from her mother when attacked by syndrome and was able to ask for this help. Rumination, distraction, and social support are also common coping mechanisms used by adolescents. Rumination is used more by adolescent girls than boys, and Violet certainly demonstrates this by moping around when she has problems throughout the movie. She also uses distraction techniques such as listening to music and reading when she has problems that she isn't ready to deal with. Girls tend to seek more social support than boys as a coping mechanism, but in the movie, Violet really isn't seen doing this as much as the literature would suggest she does.
As far as communication goes, teens these days tend to prefer communicating via social media, and they feel they are able to express themselves easier online through social media or through text messaging. Some teens may be more expressive online or through texting than in person or over the phone. In the movie, we did not see Violet using communication through social media or texting. However, we saw her with her family communicating at the dinner table with limited eye contact. She was very quiet. She would answer with one-word responses with her head down and hair covering her face. The family breaks out into argument at the dinner table, and Violet's parents engage in yelling back at her. Some strategies for parents would be to show respect, be patient, show interest in the child's lives, communicate expectations, and be a role model, which this was not seen in the movie.
Emotional and social maturation in adolescence involves the development of self-esteem and self-image. Aspects of self-image include the psychological self, the social self, coping self, familial self, and sexual self. According to Erik Erikson, adolescence is correlated with identity versus role confusion, a time when teenagers are exploring who they are as individuals. Research indicates that having a strong cultural identity can have a positive impact on self-esteem as well as academic performance during adolescence. In the movie, Violet's superhero culture helps her build her confidence as she gains more control of her powers. As a result, her self-efficacy and self-esteem improve as well. Teenagers are known to have a heightened and fleeting emotions due to puberty and hormonal changes that occur during this developmental stage. A decrease in overall happiness also frequently occurs, and symptoms of depression may develop. Teenagers typically experience more social anxiety, especially when it comes to romantic interests, and peer and friendship support is especially important during this time. Initially, Violet is unable to use her superpowers because she doubts herself and her abilities, leading her to feel guilty and upset that she is letting her family down. In the movie, Violet is initially awkward and shy around her crush, Tony, and she is observed hiding behind her hair and making herself invisible. Once Violet begins to establish her identity as a superhero, her self-esteem improves and she is able to interact with her romantic interest with confidence.
So the activities and interests Violet participates in throughout the movie are school, social events, hanging out with friends, listening to music, reading, as well as fighting supervillains. So a study we found of that it looked at 15-year-olds that were exploring young people's perceived talents, interests, and strengths, identified 28% as sports, athletics, and other physical activities. 24% described their interests as creative activities such as art, dance, drama, music, or writing. And other interests were identified as technology, social activities, and work. So apart from fighting villains, Violet engaged in typical activities for her age group. The family did have an impact on Violet throughout the movie. The family had a strong belief of being normal at all costs, which impacted Violet to make a conscious effort to literally not be seen. This led her to go through her adolescent years making very few friends and blending in with the crowd. We have a scene from the movie of Violet fighting with her parents.
Your father and I are still going to discuss it.
I'm not the only kid who's been sent to the office, you know.
Other kids don't have superpowers. Now, it's perfectly normal.
Normal? What do you know about normal? What does anyone in this family know about normal?
Now, wait a minute, young
we
lady.
act normal, Mom. I want to be normal. The only normal one is Jack, and he's not even toilet trained.
So parent-adolescent conflict increases in early adolescence. So although it's normally not over superpowers, parent-adolescent conflict between Violet and her parents is normal and actually serves as a positive developmental function. The disputes and negotiations facilitate the adolescent's transition from being dependent on parents to becoming an autonomous individual. And here are our references. Thank you.
Bye!